You're recording.
Okay, deadlift. Again, one of the exercises that there's a lot of controversy over how to do this correctly. I have my own thoughts and I'm going to show you these. I'm going to show you how I feel the deadlift should be done to get the maximum, basically the maximum muscular effort, but also the safest possible position. The first thing to be aware of is when we do a deadlift, we generally go what we call a mixed grip, which means you're going to have one hand under and one hand over. Try and alternate it between sets so you don't get used to just having one under and one over. We change it each time. Now, unlike the Romanian deadlift and the stiff leg deadlift, this is a deadlift exercise which starts on the floor and finishes on the floor. Okay, that's what it means, a deadlift. You lift the weight from dead and you replace it to dead. Now, you're going to start with your feet about shoulder width apart, hip distance apart. Okay? You want your shins as close to the bar as you can get them. Now, the first phase is to sit down and take a mixed grip grasp with the bar. Sink the bum down low, lift the chest up high and keep the weight on against the shins. Now we'll get Ben to do a couple so you can see as it comes up his hips and his hips come forward. Again, this posture here with a strong position. Okay, do a couple more for me, Ben. Sit down, shoulders back, come up, hips forward. Good, controlling it down, come up, hips forward, fantastic. Now, important thing to remember, and the thing that's going to be the weakest point is between the shoulder blades. When you try and pull off of the floor, the shoulders will try and round out. What I want you to do is to really focus on getting some kind of strength in here, pulling them back together. What that will do is, that will, like the Romanian deadlift, transmit the force into the hips rather than into the muscles of the spine or the spine itself. And I want this to be a hip dominant exercise. So you're going to sit down, bend the knees, bum back, and you sit down. Stop there for me, Ben. Squeeze the shoulder blades back. Now, the chest comes up first, and then the hips come through. Okay? Control it down, weight into the heels. Excellent. Now, take a breather for me, Ben. What we don't want to do is do this incorrectly. I, again, see this many, many times done incorrectly. Now, the first mistake I see is doing it with a bent arm. So, let's do a rep for me, Ben, with a bent arm. You want to imagine that your arms are chained with hooks. If you do it with a bent arm like Ben's doing here, it changes the whole way the force is transmitted through the body. So, arms should be straight. Like I just said, imagine they're chains and you just have hooks. They can't bend up at all. As you go down, another classic mistake I see is letting just the hips stay high and not sitting into it, and then they slowly come down there and all the way to the floor. You also see people actually lifting from this position. Okay, look at the pressure coming through the spine here. Okay, if this bar was loaded up with heavy weight, I would never let him lift it up because the risk of injury just shoots through the roof. Plus, what am I actually trying to train? I'm not sure what I'm trying to train here, but it'll be some form of muscles through out the back. So, I'll get Ben to pick this up. Again, you're not doing that. Come all the way up for me. And likewise, when you get to the top, I classically see people leaning back there to try and take the weight. Okay? We want you, as we said with the others, bum tight, stomach tight, shoulders back. Okay? So, slowly, bum stuck out as you sit down. Stop. That's spinal alignment. Okay, we're not rounded. Round down. We're not rounded. Okay, and we're not overly arched. Okay, where there's too much arch in here and through the spine. It'd be hard to do that in this position, but some people do. So, sit down, squeeze the shoulders back, weight into the heels, and your first movement is to lift the chest, then the hips come through. Okay, two more for me, Ben. Real good ones. Take them up the shins and hips come through. Excellent. One more. Weight into the heels Come up the shins and hips come through. Fantastic. That's the deadlift. This will build serious strength, serious muscle, burn up serious amounts of calories while you're doing it. It's one of my favourite exercises. Go for it. Remember, shoulder blades, low back pelvis, keep your weight in your heels and you can't go wrong.